Good afternoon, this is Chris Marr, and welcome to another segment of Legal Questions and Answers. Good afternoon, this is Chris Marr again. Today I want to talk about several areas that I practice in a great deal. One is family court. Family court in New York is in every county. There is a family court in Putnam, Westchester, Dutchess, Orange, and Rockland where I practice on a regular basis, including the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. There's a family court in each borough. And the family courts are tasked with handling several different types of matters, but the most common is custody cases, either between married couples or between unmarried couples. And custody cases will always involve young children. And sometimes the children are the biological children of both, sometimes they're not. But for purposes of today and this discussion, it really does not matter. If someone is married to someone else and they're going to get divorced, very often the divorce case will start in the family court in a custody litigation or dispute between the parents. And custody is two different types of custody in New York, and I've had this discussion before, but it's a situation that repeatedly comes up. We have legal custody. Who is the legal custodian of this child or these children? It can be either parent or it can be both parents. If it's both parents, it's joint legal custody. If it's either the mother or the father, or if it's a same-sex couple, whoever the parent is who decides or seeks to become the sole legal custodian of the child or children. Or we have physical custody. Physical custody, as I always say, means where will this child put their head on a pillow most nights during a week, okay? And if you add it all up over the course of a week or a month, and that child is spending the greater period of time with one parent as opposed to another, that parent will be, for purposes of this discussion, presumed to be the physical custodian of that child. And what you need or want if you're going to pursue custody litigation in a family court is you typically will want to have a court determine that you, either by agreement with the other party who you're fighting against, hopefully not fighting in front of the child, that becomes a big issue in these cases, or fighting legally, that you want a court to say, if you're seeking to be the physical custodian, that you're the physical custodian of this child. You must understand that this is where these fights get down and dirty and really nasty. If you have, and I always say to people, the old days where even if the child is very, very young, where the mother gets presumed, at least, we presumed in the old days that the mother would be the more fit. That's not so anymore. It's not untrue. It's just that it's I believe, a fairer playing field, because very often many people know situations where the mother is the go out of the house and earn wages somewhere else earner, and the father becomes the stay-at-home, if you will. One thing I tell people all the time is Facebook can either be your friend or it can be your foe. And nowhere is it more true than in family court, because we want to present our client in family court in the best or the least worst, if you understand where I'm coming from, and with respect to drugs and risky behaviors or behaviors that we think are really not what we think should be coming from the parent of a young child. Those are things that we don't want to have our clients being outed, if you will, by some Facebook post that shows them playing around at somebody else's house, or worse than that, out in a public venue or forum with guns or big blunts, or looking like they're completely inebriated, or something that does not show them in a light that we want to present them to the court, which is as an appropriate parent of a young child who is going to allow a court to say, I wouldn't be worried about giving custody to that person. If you got a situation where you're representing somebody who's got those gangsta and blunts and guns and craziness and partying at the beach, and every picture's, on a beach, where the person appears to be impaired, those are not what we want a court to see. So, and I say that because everybody in the world today seems to be on Facebook, and very often I have people bringing in these types of pictures, and it's not only pictures, it's texts where the person really appears to be talking to someone else with the type of language that is not really the same type of language we're going to want a court to think that this person is using around a child. So custody litigation becomes very wide-ranging in courts, and it's in terms of opening yourself up to having a governmental entity decide who is the more fit parent. If the government has to decide, meaning a judge or a hearing examiner in a family court, we may not like the decision. We may have a situation where they look at us in a light we don't think they should. If you have any questions about that, call me.